Step 2 is going to take us into entering the monthly financial data. And there's a variety of ways that customers are going to load data into the Outlook Soft application. The most common way that customers get information into the application is by loading data from a source system. So that's going to be the first example we look at. We do have some customers, particularly in international, that do load data by inputting it into input schedules. And we'll take a look at an example of that so you can see what that process looks like as well. So to load data from a source system, we're going to go ahead and click on that step in the business process flow. And you can see that it's going to take the user to a nice little assistant that's going to walk them through the process of importing information. Now, there's a couple different ways you can handle this in the organization. You can either have this run centrally, which a lot of customers do. They load from the general ledger. It's on a scheduled basis. It happens as a lights out process, and users don't have to manually import information. Some of our customers have very disparate ledger systems, and different subsidiaries and different business units run on different ledgers, and they have the requirement that they'd like to decentralize this process and let those subsidiaries manage the data import process independently. So this is kind of the example we're walking through, but certainly this could be scheduled to occur on whatever basis you define. So we're going to go ahead and select first our import file, and I'm going to select this happens to be a text file. Again, you can come directly into the application from a source system as well. So if you want to directly connect to the general ledger, you don't have to go through a text file extract, but it's just the easiest one to show in a demonstration environment. So to take a look at what that data file looks like, we might want to touch on the preview. And this happens to be a comma delimited file. And we can see here that we've got our account string, which includes information about the account number, the entity, the product line, that type of thing, the time period we're loading data for, and the amount that we're actually loading. The next thing we might want to define is a transformation file. And this is where all of the different mappings and conversion definitions and those types of things are stored. And we'll take a look at an example of that in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and select finish, and you'll notice here before I do that, I do have the ability to go ahead and schedule this type of import. So you can actually manage that process as the finance user as well. So once we've kicked off the package, then we always have the ability to see the results, again, as I mentioned, by taking a look at the process status. And as you can see here on my import package, I have a warning. So one of the things we're going to do as we load data into the application is we're going to run some validation checks and be sure that everything's mapped appropriately, that nothing was left out or mapped incorrectly. So when we do have that case and we have errors as the data load process, we're going to get either a warning or an error message. And we can just double click on the status and understand a little bit better what's happened as part of the process. And if you focus down on the bottom here, you can see that I had 5 records rejected as part of my data load process. Well, I want to understand that a little bit more, so maybe I want to take a look at the data that was rejected. And I can come over to my reject data, and I see the list of accounts, or the list of records, excuse me, that were rejected. Now, the thing that's most important to me, though, is why these records were rejected. So if I take a look at the reject list, I can see I have an account, 6235, that doesn't exist in my mapping file. It wasn't able to find a valid map for this particular account. So I know I need to fix this as a user of